Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Pointing Not Sharp. Today we're taking a look at another Portuguese bayonet, which is the M948, also referred to as the M48, but the correct nomenclature is the M948, 948 standing for 1948, the year. So, this tiny bayonet is made to fit the FBP submachine gun, which was a Portuguese manufactured machine gun made by Fabrico Braco de Prata, probably mispronouncing that. And they were, well, in English, the Silver Arms Factory. And they were based out of Lisbon, and they were a state-owned manufacturer of firearms or arms for Portugal. Now, these are manufactured from 1948 through until 1955. And I can't find a definitive record of how many were manufactured, but I'm guessing, based on some serial numbers I've seen, it's about 35,000. These bayonets are not terribly common. You don't come across them very often at all. But the highest serial number I've seen is like high 20s, and I've been told, I know of someone who reckons he's got one mid 30s, so I'm guessing 35,000. There could have been more, there could have been less, and serial numbers might not even determine how many were manufactured to begin with. They might have started, at 10,000 or 20,000. So who knows how many of these were actually made. Now, the history behind it, leading up to the First World War, Portugal, like many other countries, found themselves in a position where they had to catch up. Lots of other countries were developing submachine guns, and they wanted to develop one of their own. And while they had already adopted the MP34 from Germany, and they had their own bayonet for that, which was just a model 1904 Bagheera bayonet, which they already had in service, which was slightly shortened and lengthened to fit the MP34. They wanted to produce their own submachine gun domestically. And in 1940, they came up with one that they pretty much liked, but they stopped development at the start of World War II. It wasn't until 1948 that they really got that submachine gun and bayonet going again, and it was accepted in 1948 as the M948. And that was made to supplement their existing stock of MP34s, which they really didn't have enough of. And let's be honest, by that stage, MP34s, they were fantastic submachine guns, but they were heavy and they were over-engineered. They were pretty much obsolete by that point. Everyone was using really light stamped blowback submachine guns, really simple. And the M948 was very similar to the MP40 in the fact that it had the tube with the spring in it for the bolt. Anyway, these submachine guns and bayonets were issued to NCOs and officers generally. That's not a rule, so I imagine they were also issued to other soldiers as well, but primarily officers and NCOs. And initially, this bayonet didn't have a name in nomenclature. It was just the bayonet, and sometimes referred to as dagger bayonet. So it wasn't until later that collectors really named it the M948 after the submachine gun itself. Now, these saw extensive use throughout their time with Portugal. So they saw a lot of use in all Portuguese colonies like Angola, Portuguese Guinea, Mozambique, Portuguese India, and Portuguese Timor. So you quite often find them quite beat up and rugged condition. This one is pretty good, like the Scabbard's seen better days, but overall I'm very happy with it. Now, in 1961, there was an update. And the update was a new version of the submachine gun and a slightly different bayonet. However, there's barely any of those manufactured. Like, you don't see them. I've only seen photos of two. And I don't know the differences in the manufacture of the submachine gun too much. They called that the M963. But the bayonet had the addition of a very small muzzle ring and a pommel, very similar to what you find on the AR-10 bayonet. It's believed this bayonet as well might have been the inspiration for the AR-10 bayonet. I know the AR-10 has an M3 fighting knife style of blade copied from the US, which everyone was using, but the whole idea of a dagger bayonet, I believe, was probably the inspiration for this, and the M3 was just a very convenient blade profile. Now, these bayonets, I'll quickly finish. The M963, the other version of this, they're extremely rare. You don't see one. If you do come across one, buy it, because you'll probably be able to sell it to some sucker collector like me for an exorbitant amount of money. Please give me a discount. I want one. Anyway, these were in service until the 1980s. It's not clear exactly when, but phased out and replaced by Uzis and the Portuguese G3. So a combination of the two. Now, that's sort of the history aside. There's not too much to say, but we'll jump into the construction. And personally, I find them a little bit exciting because I don't know why, I just love Portuguese bayonets, I always have. So first off, we have a very short double-bladed dagger profile blade, so sharpened both edges. It's got a rough machined finish and a very good point on it. No fullers, as you can see. It's got the dagger profile, and then it's got a very heavy dark blue. And this one's oiled up, but it sort of has a greasy feel to it as well. So I don't know if that's original or just something that's been done to preserve this one. It's not Cosmoline. Now, moving down, we barely have a ricasso at all. And then the crossguard is a little bit funny. So you hear these likened to Gewehr 98 bayonets. Bayonets that don't have a muzzle ring and have a really strong locking mechanism that are held on like that. However, you might notice the ears here on the top of the crossguard, they sit too high, so this will not fit on a Gewehr 98 or Mauser style of rifle. Well, that style of Mauser rifle anyway. Now, moving down, we've got two wooden grip panels, and you'll see we have no clearance hole, so this is definitely not a Gewehr 98 style bayonet. Our grip panels are retained by two flathead screws. And then moving down, the pommel certainly looks very Mauserish until you see it's only got a T-mortise, not a TO, so it won't accommodate a cleaning rod and will definitely not fit on a Gewehr 98. Other than that, it's exactly what you imagine. It's got a press button, ramped lug, usual attaching mechanism. Now, moving down to the scabbard. The scabbard is constructed of steel, very small blade. Sometimes these come with ball finales, sometimes they don't, like this one here. The blade goes in either way, obviously, because the blade is symmetrical, and the throat is held in by a single flathead screw. Our frog stud looks very German, and that's really all there is to say to it. I've been told that these were initially blued very heavily. This one appears to have been painted black. That's something I seem to have come across a little bit with Portuguese bayonets, so maybe someone can enlighten me in the comments, but a lot of the Portuguese bayonets I've come across, like my M34, got black paint, sorry, MP34, I've got black paint on the pommel and the crossguard, and then here I've got black paint on the scabbard. So I don't know if that's something that was done during service, or maybe these both came from the same collector. Maybe I just had an ambitious collector, I don't know. Now, that's pretty much the entire construction of the bayonet. It's nice and light, very strong. Doesn't feel like it's going to snap. This feels like it would make a fantastic fighting knife. Like, I'd probably take this over a Fairbairn Sykes knife. This thing is absolutely fantastic. And if I had to be issued a bayonet, like, this is definitely a contender. This thing is fantastic. Sharpen it up and it would be well and truly deadly. So, finally, we'll jump into the markings. So, there is only one marking you'll find on these, and that is a serial number on the left crossguard. The serial number on this one here is 21778, so 21,778, which is, you know, towards the later end of production. There is another marking you occasionally find on these, and it's a little bit controversial. So on one of the ricassos, I'm not sure which side, the left or the right, you'll find Armento Marina M48. Now, those markings have been, some people believe they mean they were Navy issued. However, the ones that have that marking are slightly different. So the construction is crap. The crossguard is thin and flimsy. It's widely believed they're reproductions and they're not the real McCall. So if you've got one, maybe you can let me know. But from what I've read, the general consensus is that those are reproductions. Although who knows, they could be official and for the Navy and just constructed really, really poorly. I don't know. But I haven't seen the serial numbers on them, so I can't, get a feel for how high the serial numbers are, if they're ludicrous, if they make no sense, if it's the same font and style as the serial number on these ones. But yeah, it's believed there are likely reproductions of these out there, and they're the ones with that marking on the ricasso. Anyway, I don't know what it is about Portuguese bayonets. I just really enjoy them, and my collection has been steadily growing all year. I'm definitely not selling this one, so if you follow me on eBay, tough luck. And thanks for watching. If you haven't already, guys, please like and subscribe. It'll help me with the algorithm and help me make more videos. And I've got plenty more content like this coming. Lots more really interesting bayonets. I've got a drawer of about 50, so if you don't want to miss out on any of those, and some of them are really unique, pieces you probably haven't seen before, please subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching.